All right, we touched on the topic of resell in the panel now on DPP, and we're going to do another deep dive. We're going to continue the conversation on resell. I am happy to welcome up on stage Marcus Hartmann, Regional Head of Sustainability and Public Affairs from H&M North Europe, Amanda Thorén, CEO of Bencha, and Christian Kilin, CEO of Brandback. Warm applause.
Hey.
Welcome.
Well, you can hear my
Perfect
old
panel
man
for this.
moaning when I'm sitting down.
Welcome, Marcus. Thank you for bringing the tie game up on stage.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
I'm just happy I didn't bring my white overshirt today, which I usually wear in panels. So.
Yeah, we would have been twinning.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's so much to talk about. I think like the last panel kind of set this up perfectly for us. There is so much happening in the world of resell, and we're going to go into this from many different topics, from the brand side, from the solution side, from the data side. Maybe, Marcus, I'm going to start with you from kind of H&M perspective. Obviously, huge organization, but you have been entering this resell concept in the last year or so. Can you talk about why this is important for H&M?
Yeah, we have, and it's been a few years now that we've been sort of diving into this and trying to find ways to grow it within our, as you said, large organization. And I mean, it's two reasons. One is, of course, it's a business reason. We see there's a lot of potential in resell. To have that as one of our options for our customers, to have the opportunity to both buy second-hand and new garments when they come to us. And the second part is, of course, around sustainability, because we want to decouple our growth from resource use. And to be able to do that, we need to move into a more circular business model, not only by resell, also, of course, when it comes to materials and all these parts as well. But it's these two things that have sort of brought us into this game.
Gonna get back to that. Chris, I'm going to have you describe, how would you define the kind of the opportunity of resell right now? What's the state here?
Well, I think it's enormous, first of all. And second of all, it's very dangerous to ignore. If we dissect the numbers, in each of the last 5 years, resale has grown at over 40%. That's online fashion resale, meaning that this market is doubling every 2 years. It now makes up about 9 to 10% of the overall fashion market. And to be honest, the overall fashion market, of course, is quite flat, right? And that's being optimistic. So you need to find the pockets of growth. And in the end, follow that and integrate in a meaningful way. And now you might say, Chris, I don't want to do this. My board doesn't want to do this. I don't want to touch resale. Well, then at least don't have your own resale channel, but pull the right things out of it for yourself, right? Use the data to inform your pricing, to inform your merchandising strategy, but also maybe do little bits and pieces that fit your brand to drive that customer engagement flywheel that actually delivers growth also on the new sales side.
You're actionable right away. I love it. But we'll get back to implementation in a moment. I want to hear from Amanda as well. Like, how do you see this opportunity? What's the temperature in the industry around resale right now?
Yeah, as you say, it's a huge opportunity, of course. And I mean, each brand already are a part of the second-hand or the circular business. So they are already there, but they don't earn any money. So I mean, it should be pretty clear that there is a new revenue stream that actually can contribute to your business goal, but also can open up for new customers to get to know the younger customers that maybe just want to interact with your brand on the second-hand space, not in the linear, because that's where they are today. So, yeah.
Yeah, and talking about data, because that is my goal, and it's also retail goal. So if you want to know who is know new trends, the second hand is quicker, but also now know how you are performing out there. So the quality of the perception of the quality, that's resonating in the prices. So it's data that you need to own, and today, if you don't have that, you're missing out.
Before we hear from Chris, and I want you to describe what you do exactly. You have a very interesting solution. Marcus, just from H&M perspective, you have this enormous scale to your business, let's say, and you did actually release some numbers recently that said that resale was about like 0.6% of total turnover. Sounds small, but I'm guessing that amounts to quite a lot in turnover size. But what are some of the biggest kind of challenges that you have met when implementing this from your end?
Yeah, I mean, 0.6 sounds pretty small, but then again, as you said, if you compare it, our turnover is 234 billion SEK, so it still amounts to, my math is not very good because I'm a lawyer, but I think it's about 1.5 billion SEK on resell.
It's a decent sized business.
It's a decent sized business for us as well. I mean, I think we're seeing the same challenges as most people who are venturing into resale or businesses venturing into resale. Is that because you have to handle single SKUs all the time? It is one garment. You have to handle that garment every single time. Put hands on it, look at it, make sure it's sellable again and all that. So that is a true threshold for the growth, to be honest. Data always also like knowing where to put the garments. We have it both online and in store. If you after this you can go to Götgatan. It's just a bus from here in, and then in the store there we have a big resell section. All brands, not only H&M, but any brand. But again, it's come back to like to be able to grow this, we need to automatize more, and we have more data and understand more about it. So there we see the thresholds.
Okay, so we need to automate more. I think both Amanda and Chris, you're perfect to talk to about this. Chris, to begin with, Brandback, give the elevator pitch to the audience. What is it that you do for the industry?
Yeah, we call it embedded resale. Embedded because we plug into the front end and the back end of our customers quite deeply. Meaning that we start in the PDPs, cart pages and checkout pages of brands and retailers, and we already display estimated resale values at the point of new sale. So assuming they buy a new jacket, the customer will immediately know how much he or she will be able to get back later on with Brandback through a facilitated sale with us. And what we do here is we drive commercial KPIs on the new collections. People are more likely to purchase if they know they can get a healthy resale value back, and they're less likely to return. And after the fact, once we have the consumer, we give them the best possible customer journey and then sell the item wherever the brand sees a relevant resale pool, right? That can be a white labeled marketplace, but it doesn't have to be. We have partnerships with the likes of eBay, large liquidity pools around the internet, which are the horizontal marketplaces. We can always also sell off items there. And in the end, what we sell to retailers and brands is growth. It's not really, let us sell secondhand items, we'll give you a little piece of it. It's really looking holistically at the business and driving revenue first and foremost on the new collections.
And how is this received from, tell us a little bit how long you've been doing this and some of the experiences you've had going to market. We've
been around for now almost 2 years. We're a Berlin-based team, about 20 in size. And to be honest, the preferences in the industry are very heterogeneous, right? Everyone wants something a bit different. And it's very understandable. Fashion is a very emotional industry. Everyone has a different brand, and we completely understand that. And that's also why our product, I always describe it as a kitting agent. What's a kitting agent in logistics and heavy industries? It's something that you pull together in a very modular way to fit your purpose. And that's exactly how we think about it. You can pull different modules out of Brandback to make it fit your brand. We don't ever force anything on you. But in the end, we want to deliver the KPIs out of a fairly broad toolbox that drive change for you, whether that's just a data piece or it's actually a full circle resale solution.
And what do you say to brands that say like, well, I don't want to showcase my old products. I want to sell new products. What's the point of showcasing my old products?
100%. I mean, there's some of our brands that they don't actually want a marketplace that sits adjacent to their website. In this case, some of them just leverage our embedded product, right? So we showcase the resale values, but then we're keeping the rest quite far away from them. We're
Yeah, did you want to
liquidating.
show an example of this?
Absolutely. So this is we picked a customer from Sweden, Sandquist. You see a new backpack here. You can purchase this for 159 on their website, and you see a little widget below the Add to Cart button that says "Get 95 euros when you resell." Right, and then that's our pricing engine that sits there valuing that backpack. And then, yeah, people are more likely to purchase. So Sandquist has seen great results with this, and we must say it's great results on the new sales. So we leverage second-hand as a method to boost overall growth.
And it's working.
It is working for Sandquist, absolutely, and also other customers.
Let's talk about the implications of the data. It's been a kind of a through line through this morning. When we gather also this second-hand data, it gives a whole different set of preconditions for brands, let's say, to look at their own products, look at their brands, how they operate. Amanda, this is your wheelhouse. Describe Bencha and what you do and kind of how you aggregate this second-hand data.
Yeah. So Bencha is a AI engine for automate the second-hand process, and to help the consumer or the brands or the consumers or the retailers to sell a product in seconds instead of hours. So that's our main focus. What we do is to collect and gather data from second-hand platforms across the world. And today I would say that we have one of the biggest databases for second-hand items in the world. We continuously add like 2.5 million new listings each day. So we cover like what is really happening in the second-hand space. And this is, we were talking about complexity within the linear business model, but if we look into the second-hand business model, we have huge opportunity, but also huge complexity, because the huge difference is that the consumers are our suppliers. They have these products in their wardrobes. And how can we activate the wardrobe? How can we get the products back? And how can we like lower the barriers for the consumers to actually be part of our initiatives? Yeah.
How do you do that?
Huh?
How do you do that?
How do I do that? Yeah, okay. So we have tools for automation. So for example, maybe we should show that. Would you like to show the
Yeah, sure.
video?
Hold on.
That could be a good...
Oh, I lost it there. Continue talking.
Yeah,
I will
continue
fix
talking.
this.
Camera's on. Yeah, so what we have is a e-commerce system that helps each step for a brand or a retailer that wants to be part of the second-hand business. So, for example, for the first, we have a physical product that we want to sell as quickly as possible. Then we need to digitalize this product so we can identify the product and make it enriched with attributes and information and priced in seconds instead of like 5 to 15 minutes as it takes today for a human being to look into the item, add manual information, do searches for what is the right price for this product, and then list it or print a label and hang it out in a store. So that's like our main focus. So that's one part of it. But when we look into like this manual process, we see that there is a lot of things going on. We also need to track the product through each step. So we need to have a unique identifier of each product so we can follow each step. Like now it's in the warehouse. You should like activate this product right now because we can see that the market demand is there. We know that this product should be sold maybe in Gothenburg today. And here we can see how we just quickly take some photos with the camera. This is from a phone, your own iPhone, for example. We are creating the product and we are analyzing the photos and read the data that we can find in the photos. And we can discover the brand, size, category, color, material produced in, and then I suggested the price. And then the listening is pretty much done. And this can be integrated also for a marketplace, for example, to like lower the barrier for the consumer to interact. It could be integrated into, we were talking about DPP. Of course, we will have a lot of information, but we will also have a lot of products that don't have a DPP. Could this be an enabler to actually digitalize these products and put them into the DPP structure, for example?
I feel like there's a kind of a convergence of like customer attitude, like brand attitude, and then you have these kind of technological tools that have to quicken up the process, because as Marcus said in the beginning, that one of the key problems is like there's one product per SKU. There's just one product page per one product. Chris, can you speak to why is this happening right now? Are we in a pole position for like a resell revolution in a way?
I think so. We need to look at customer behavior, and here really Gen Z is driving this, and we see it's a generational mega trend. Of course, the fashion industry always follows trends in merchandising, etc. So it seems, to me not conceivable that also we would ignore this trend. I actually love to bring this up, but if you ask a random Gen Zer out on the street if they prefer a second-hand item or a first-hand item, so a new item, it's actually a coin toss as to what the answer would be. 48% of Gen Zers say that they would like to have a second-hand item. And why is that? It's sustainability. It's certainly lower price points. But in the end, it's driven by this sense of uniqueness, right? Gen Zers always want to have something new, and they want to trade in and out of items. And it's the first time we see this. And therefore, also suggested by the growth rates of the last few years, we don't see this slowing down anytime soon. And the Gen Zers will also be in a few years the affluent population, right? The ones with large wallets. So therefore, we cannot ignore this trend for sure.
Linda?
Yeah, I also, so I think that we have the customer there, but we also can solve one of the fashion problems being so a bit slow, to be frank. So when we notice a trend, it takes a while until we can produce and sell it. But here we can work as more like the super fast fashion that is doing everything wrong with the production and being really fast, like Shein. We can be as quick as them because we don't have to produce. We can ask and bring in products that can be faster, but they can also be more edgy. So if that's why I love what H&M is doing. Everyone is testing, you are not testing, you have done it for a while, but that is learning together with different ways of doing secondhand. Some is only doing their own products, and that can be right for some brands. And I love what you have been doing, because you are creating an edge of your assortment with the secondhand. And also the secondhand, it's so much value in this, sorry for speaking too much. It's also, because it's only one piece, it's appealing for this fear of missing out inbuilt muscle we have. So it brings people, when you have secondhand in store, it brings people into the store. You really see that with brands that is adding secondhand to the assortment. So I just love the opportunity here, and I love that you guys that is so big are like leading the way for also not only testing but scaling. That has been the problem.
Yeah, you're being very kind, and just to be clear, we're not saying that we're very far ahead or are done. We're still also on a learning curve and still also testing stuff to make sure that we do it in the right way and that we can scale it with a profitable business case as well. Because as I was saying, it's twofold. This is not just a sustainability thing, it's also a business case. As to your point, we're seeing that secondhand is growing. I mean, it's been around for such a long time, but it's more and more top of mind for people, and not only, but also because of the fashion part of it. To be the unique, have that unique piece that you find in those sort of curated second-hand fashion.
How much are you observing kind of customer behavior how much is that informing your initiatives and how you operate in this?
all of it. I mean, customers are the central part of our operation. We don't do anything that's not beneficial for our customers. That's why we exist. It's for the customers, and so it's of course what we're trying to. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of data out there. I mean, even if it's maybe a bit harder to get data on secondhand on those garments, it's still a lot of data. And I think that for us and for a lot of other brands, it's also about, okay, how do we actually understand all this data that we have? How can we understand it better? What tools can we use now to better understand the data that we get? Because another side of our operation that we are looking into heavily when it comes to data is to sort of be better at optimizing our production to make sure that we don't produce what we sell, so we don't have to produce too much. And that's also a lot of data in that. And then you bring in AI, and there's so many things happening right now. I mean, it's truly a sort of a tipping point in all business when it comes to data and AI.
And that we go back to the second panel, I think it was, when we talked about this, being more clever with what we are producing, and this feedback loop, because it is, you need the data we were talking about. Which data do we need to become more clever when we plan the assortment, and also the amount of everything, and where we are shipping, and all those decisions. It's also second-hand data. We didn't talk about that, but it's so important, because and the second-hand data in what type of garments are going around, the quality, the price. So it's so, and the returns, of course, should be there as well. So all these data, and how we can get the organization to become more and more clever, and design to have this circular, for a long lifetime of the product.
But unfortunately, though, people seem to change their minds all the time. So it's also like to have the most. I mean, you can have data that's a week old, and that's a week old, and then something happens, and all of a sudden that data is no longer valuable. It's just like, okay, here we go. People change their mind again.
Yeah.
So
you need to have real-time data.
Yeah. Almost. Yeah.
Amanda, from your end, when you speak to the industry, do you feel like they understand the potential of the data you're sitting on? Or like, where do you feel like you have to explain the most in terms of the opportunities of this second-hand data?
I think, or I see that today it's like two different type of discussions. We have the linear business model, and we have the circular business model here. And that's the main problem, because we could have a flat hierarchy. We could look into a product like, this is the single SKU, and how will this like product life cycle look like for this product? Of course, we can like bundle them up, and we can do a lot of intelligence. But if we are talking about like the linear and the circular, if they can match and they don't talk with each other, that's the main issue, I would say. So we are always like, we can see more and more that we don't talk with the sustainability. We talk with circular business model, circular business managers, that this is like a revenue-driven stream that they can bring to the management to say, here we can actually earn even more money. Maybe we can have a margin on this product more than just once. We can have it 3 times. And when you start covering like that type of like business opportunity, then it's very relevant to add the second-hand data. But if you see like, okay, we are just a linear business, we have a linear business model, and we will continue that. Okay, it's nice to see that we have a value out there, but what should we do with that? Then you will, it will not bring any value, because you don't look at your business as the potential to step into a whole circular business model.
Closing out, I want to hear from all of you, like, where do you think, or just mention some of the things you're hoping will have happened in the next, say, 3 to 5 years, a little bit longer term, like, where has the industry shifted in terms of resale, and what do you hope will have happened? Chris, I want to start with you.
I have the firm belief that new items, the sale of new items and second-hand will merge in the future. Otherwise, I wouldn't have started Brandback. There's so many interesting problems to solve, but I see a future, I'm convinced of that. Maybe not in 5 years, but in 10, 15, where it all goes hand in hand.
How do you envision that merge? What does that look like for the consumer?
Well, in the end, it's about the right software tools to bring this in and integrate with the systems. We've seen time and time again that retailers and brands have struggled with integrating resale because it was too disjointed, right? The systems didn't communicate. The data needs to be mirrored in your CRM. The returns need to go automatically up to the resale marketplaces, etc. It cannot feel like a foreign little body in your org. It needs to be flawless. And this is a non-trivial software problem, but we'll be able to solve that.
Amanda, from your perspective?
Yeah, I have two things that I hope for. One is that I hope that we can see like the seller and the buyer. It could be a brand to a consumer. It could be retail to brand. It could be consumer to consumer, whatever. But the seller and the buyer are like dancing tango. We can find with AI as help, like help them to find each other, to have a more like hyper personalized experience within secondhand, because I think that's crucial and very important. And the other thing is also, can we automate like the product life cycle of a product? Could we, instead of use our gut feeling for, I think this product should take the next step into here, could we instead look into, okay, the next step for this product is refurbished. The next step for this product is to be resold in Denmark. The next step, and in that way, if we, with automation and intelligence, can like encourage that type, then it will be much easier for the retailers and brand to like be part of this journey. So I hope that we will see automation within that.
Marcus, you're at 0.6% today. In 5 years, where are you? Can you give a number?
No, I won't give a number, but I think that what I'm hoping to see is a sort of combination of Chris and Amanda, and I think that's very interesting. Like today we talk about omni business model and we talk about brick and mortar and online, but I also think we need to talk omni about new and second hand. Yeah. To say that when you experience fashion retailer, you don't know. I mean, you don't know and care if it's a new or an old garment. It's just seamlessly integrated. If you go online and you get recommendation, it could be a second hand or it could be a new, or all these things. And same thing in store. It becomes more integrated. So you don't have to think like, oh, now I'm gonna have to buy second hand today and tomorrow it's new. It's like it's all in the same place and sort of seamlessly moving around. Let's see. Let's hope we can get there. But I won't give a number. Hopefully we will keep growing, and I think, I mean, again, we do get a lot of heat for being a large company and the impact we have, but that also means that we can actually drive change on a large scale, and hopefully we can do that with Resell as well.
Wonderful. Linda, some last
Yeah,
reflection?
just adding to that, because I think that is a great vision. And if we also go to how to plan assortment in stores, if that could be also omni, that we know who the customer are in that location, and the PLM tells us this is the assortment you should have in that store. That should also cover the the second hand, sorry. So you bring in new, and when you're planning assortment, and you don't have to have this in a separate ways to really merge both intelligent process that is green, and the green customer experience as a omni. Another way of talking about omni.
As always, it's an ongoing conversation. We'll get back to this, I'm sure, many times again. Chris Kilin, Amanda Thorén, and Marcus Hartmann, thank you so much for sharing your insights here today.
Thank you.
Please.